$500,000 allocated for cleanup of neglected properties and areas. After going back and just kind of taking a deeper dive look, we did run into some issues when we started to come up with concepts for those projects. Mainly, a lot of these things are on private property, and as the county, there would be a lot of legalities and different issues that would come up if we were trying to ourselves personally do projects on private property. So we took a look at it and we removed about $2 million worth of funding from those three line items. However, we did reallocate a good portion of that money back into the community stability um, category. So to keep in mind with what the seemingly intent was of the Board of Commissioners to provide some community cleanup, we are looking at doing $300,000 for a street sweeper, and we, as serving as the executive director of Keep Douglas County Beautiful, one of the things that we hear a lot of is making sure that our community is beautiful and our streets are beautiful. So a street sweeper will definitely help in that endeavor. Another thing that we're adding is a possible $150,000 for home repairs for senior citizens. So this would possibly help for blight removal, cleanup of neglected properties and areas. And once again, all of these recommendations are pending legal review from our grants management team, as well as review from Landmark Out Consulting Group. We also wanted to keep some of the money in the community stability category for a mobile book library. This would help with making sure that we had literacy and technology throughout the county for those areas that people who may not be able to come to the library. So this will help with having those types of having the bookmobile at events, going to our parks, going to different areas in our community that our citizens may not be able to get to the library. And we thought that that would be a great community stability concept. And then last, we've been hearing a lot of talk throughout our Board of Commissioner meetings and different things about our youth. And so adding $125,000 for youth programs to assist with mental health and things like our youth commission and some of the programs that we have going on in our court system, we're recommending an allocation of $125,000 for that. The next allocation that we are recommending is the land for the Chapel Hill Library. $500,000 in an allocation for the land for the library, so we can get that project moving for District 3. As we are aware, it is the only district that does not have a library, and we want to try to make sure that there is equity in our facilities throughout the county. So we have that amount listed. And I would also like to scroll up and bring your attention to two things in the broadband and infrastructure category. One is there was $1 million in that category for a future women's restoration and rehab facility. However, that money has been removed and reallocated to some of our community stability projects as well as our program management funding. And then we also increased the funding for installing broadband and sewer for the Chapel Hill Innovation Library, because we had that amount listed at $500,000, but after doing a deeper dive, there may be a little bit more funding that's required for that amount. And then the last thing we have listed is the unallocated portion of $500,000. That funding is unallocated, and of course, with more input from this committee and the board, we will be able to make a full recommendation of how to spend the whole $28,425,412. But once again, these are just proposed reallocations pending approval of this committee and the Board of Commissioners. And I will take any questions or comments at this time.
Thank you, Madam ACA. Very well done, well presented. We're looking for reconciliation. The objective was twofold. One, is this list valid from the perspective, are these things that we assumed originally would be eligible projects, are they? And second, we need to make sure that we can cover the federal standard of taking federal money and keeping up with reporting everything regarding that. We know we normally can spend up to 10% of a grant for project management administration. This 1.4 million is that's half of the 2.8 that we could have actually allocated for this. So are they saying that the 1.4 will cover the 3 years associated with this grant? Yes or no?
Yes, from my understanding, and Jill Hobson's on the line, she can better expound on that. But from my understanding, the 1.4 million will cover the entirety of they're working on the program.
All right, I'm gonna bring Jill forward just a second. So to the committee, again, I'm very sensitive when it comes to anything like a SPLOS or like an ARPA, because that's a Board of Commissioner decision. What I want this committee to make sure that we do is that we validate that whatever you put before that full board, are they eligible? Second, is the math right? And we've accounted for everything. So, Jill, can you come forward, please, and explain to this committee that everything on this list that's being presented is eligible for federal? It would fit within the ARPA that you can sign off on this, and if not, we'll give administrative concurrence to send to the board. But that means that you guys have to validate that before it gets on the agenda. Can you answer that now, please?
Mr. Robinson, what,
Or you need time? I mean, again,
yes.
I'm not pressing you for a decision. I'm just framing. You call it.
Yes, we do need some additional time before it's presented to the board for full approval. Landmark has done their introductory stuff. We are pending the approval of the task order. Once that's done, they will build our dashboard and go through what they call an eligibility review, where they'll take every project on here and put it into the reporting categories for the Department of Treasury's reporting system. What we're asking is just give us 30 days to finalize the recommended allocations and come back to the committee with a stronger spreadsheet.
And duly noted, I recognize that you've joined, you've now got support with obviously an outside contractor to providing thought leadership. I get it. And it just takes a minute to get your mind around it. And I'm not putting words in your mind, but recognizing the board is coming up to we're about to appropriate the overall budget. And we're always been pressing all year long to get a single view of all of our financial condition. So do I at least have your commitment to saying that in 30 days, you'll have validated the eligibility of everything on this list. And that we also, that Landmark has signed off on the numbers, etc. Are you saying that in 30 days you can do that?
Yes, sir. They're telling me that as soon as the task order is approved, they need 30 days and they can do the eligibility review.
Okay, so we haven't even get task order, Madam ACA. So we haven't signed off on this yet. Is there something that I'm missing?
No, Vice Chair. I will check on it today and make sure everything's moving in the right direction. But we will. I feel like we can confidently, working with our grants management team, Landmark, and our grant oversight office, have a recommendation for the mid-October meeting for the Board of Commissioners.
We're not outstanding on any first year reporting, 6 months in, anything like that.
No, all reports have been completed as of this date. I did, I think, the first couple, and when Ms. Hobson came on as our grant oversight manager, she has taken the reins on that, and all reports have been completed.
All right. So, and given in exchange for this 30-day delay, I'm going to come back to it while you've shown me the list of things that we have obviously on the list to spend. I'd also like to have a reconciliation of what have we burned already. I know we're going to get into that in the budget. And I know we're going to get into that with the SPOS. Like, I need a single view that we've got a list, but I'm sure that we've spent something on here. And I'd like to know what's outstanding versus what's on this new calibrated list. So, 2 tasks. Validate the eligibility of everything on here, and obviously have a burn rate, what you have burned so far. So when we go to the board, we can show them a full picture of this grant program. Can we commit to that in 30 days?
We can. We will definitely have that information.
Deputy County Administrator, sir, can you weigh in on that? Is that a false expectation there? Can we handle that?
Nope, it's not. It's a real expectation. I will follow the lead of Madam ACA and will deliver as promised.
Okay. Madam CFO, are you okay with that position that we're going to give 30 days on this matter, recognizing you got a single view that you and I are working toward? Is 30 days sufficient? Because that's all we have, but I just need you to acknowledge it on your own.
Yes, sir, that is fine. And I've actually been working with them on this project as well. So I'm in the loop on this one. So
that's what I want to make sure.
Yes,
sir.
Thank you.
Grant is talking to the other side. He's talking to the CFO. Sounds good. All right, Ms. Hobson, you have your time, 30 days. So again, there's no action until y'all come back and you're ready. Right? No
Yes.
action.
Thank you.
Yes, we will. We will come back with information for you.
All right. So while we're acknowledging that we're going to go in finance, at our next meeting, let's get a time frame that, okay, well, we're going to the full board in 30 days, but you're still gonna be at my next finance committee to give that final briefing. That, are we really good? Because the next day we'll be voting. Are we committing to that?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the date, and it looks like it's the 17th would be the finance committee meeting, if I'm
Yeah.
correct. So, so would you like it? You would like it on that agenda, or would you
That
like?
agenda, but it's also gonna be on the work session to be adopted by the board the next day.
Okay, all right.
We need to talk about it, and if they got any issues with the list, then we can go into the finance committee, clean it up.
Mhm.
You get it? You're presenting to the full board on that work session. Any feedback they got based on this conversation, and we'll go into finance, clean it up, and present to them the next day. Do you follow that chronology?
Yes, I do. And like I said, we will work with CFO Bivens, Landmark, and the Grant Oversight Management Office to make sure we get everything to you in a timely manner. So I appreciate the time given to make the adjustments.
All right, so with that, just because of the magnitude of this, let's go around the room. I just want to get administrative concurrence from everybody for the record that we agree that we'll represent this with validation from all parties at the next Board of Commissioners work session, and ultimately validation at the Finance Committee at our next meeting. I'm going to go around the room. Guys, do I have concurrence for every voting member to push this to those dates that have been referenced with those objectives being accomplished? Kelly Robinson says, yes, I concur.
Ramona Bivens says, yes, I concur.
Project Perry says, yes, I concur.
Tiffany Story Stanley, yes, I can.
All right. I think we've got unanimous voting members that are here concurrent, so it will go on the next work session. Again, that's all I needed, guys. Thank you so much for that. Jill, appreciate you. And I know you'll do well. And we're just trying to sync this up. So let's get Landmark in here, though, because, again, I don't want to put them in the shotgun. But the board still needs what it needs. So let's get that done. Thank you. All right, Madam CFO, let's keep going. I think we're on SPLOST now.
Yes, sir. So we actually have this threefold project here. So you asked for a SPLOST update, and we're trying to work through this single view for you and to try to get everything, where we can look at one thing and see everything.
But does that make sense, though, Madam CFO? And I know
Yes.
you're not even 30 days for the public, but does it make sense?
Yes, sir. No, I agree. Yes, sir. And I'm working on something. I have some tools that I bought with me. It's going to take me a little bit longer to get with all the parties, with Mr. Good and I believe Terry that's in the office with myself and Rosalind. I have a spreadsheet that I think is going to work to give you what you want. We weren't able to get it prepared for today because I need an intense meeting with everyone to for us to sit down and go through each project. That's what it's going to take to do this. And with us meeting on a regular basis to make sure that the project management company, what they have is matches what we have, and what we have as a balance is actually what they should have. So that's what I'm working on. But today we're gonna David Good has an update. Deputy County Administrator Perry is gonna go first, and then Mr. Good is gonna give his update because we did want a SPLOST update as well. And then I'll have some comments about some of the money, where we are, what we originally had, what we're projecting to collect, and what I don't have for me, the missing piece for me is some things, how much we spent, what's the balance in each project, and some other things. But I'm working on that.
Y'all saw my eyes like, okay, but she's only 30 days in, Deputy, so it's okay.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
It's okay. Deputy, go ahead, sir. Keep us moving.
Very quickly, Vice Chair, and to the public and to Madam ACA and to staff members, thank you. Vice Chair, I'm here in Columbus, Ohio, and in your neck of the woods at a conference. So just to help frame this thing, and now I'll move it on to my colleagues. I'm in total agreement with Madam CFO that we need to sit down in the same room and hash this thing out. A lot of moving parts with our SPLOST program. SPLOST program overall has been performing extremely well, and that is the good thing. But when we start to drill down to the specifics, we do need to sit down, as Madam CFO mentioned, to make sure that everybody is on the same sheet of music. As you all know, 32% fire and EMS for the program as a whole, 32% allocated to fire and EMS, 51% to transportation, 17% to parks and recreation. And David, please correct me if any of the numbers that I'm about to put out are incorrect or need to be adjusted. I believe the original, and what I'm going to give you, Vice Chair, now is the original budgeted monies for the SPLOST program versus the reforecasted budget.
Yes.
The original for fire and EMS was 32 million. The reforecasted for fire and EMS, 36,666,313. For transportation, the original budget, I believe, was 51 million. The reforecasted budget, 61,657,370. In Parks and Recreation, David, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the original forecasted amount was 17 million. And I'm sorry.
No, you say that's correct. 17 million is correct. That's what the original forecast was.
Okay, when we got to the point of reforecasting, we had exceeded that budget amount.
Yes, in the reforecast, I believe it ended up being somewhere over 19. It was going to be over 19 million. It's on the once I could share my screen, I'll be able to show that document that shows Parks and Rec.
Okay, so good. So and David will go more into the projects that have been completed and the status of those projects, those that are being completed, those that are ongoing, those that are in the pipeline, as well as those that currently are falling below the line and probably won't get completed in this current SPLOST. Ladies?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Deputy. I know you're up there. Don't tell them I got on this Georgia colors, Ohio State country, but we'll leave that there. But all right, to that point, thank you, Deputy. And so, David, that was a perfect tee up. We appreciate the administration owning this. David, we're counting on you to bring us home on this topic. It's something we've been waiting on.
Yes.
Again, it doesn't. We're not. We appreciate you guys' contribution, and again, filling in the gap for us. That I know the new team is currently here will make this much more easier. You're carrying a burden that we should have, obviously, synchronization, and we
Right.
appreciate it. So we're all good. So with that being said, y'all, we're going to just keep it moving. Madam CFO, we're going to let David take over, give him the sharing capabilities, and David.
Certainly. Tiffany, can you stop sharing your, or can I take it on? Okay, there we go. Thank you. David, you should be able to share now.
Yes, I have it. And what we're going to do is that we're going to start with the highest allocation, which is transportation. Let me know if you guys, can you see my screen?
We can.
All right, awesome. Let me, what we did was that in the beginning, of course, in the SPLOST, there was an original list that we knew we could get to 51% of the SPLOST, which was going to be, for easy math, $51 million. It was going to be overall $106 million SPLOST that the county was going to receive. The $6 million was going to go towards program management plus legal fees, everything that it took to get this SPLOST going. So therefore, we knew $100 million was going to be the amount. So when it came to transportation, as well as all the other categories, we started out performing less than what we should, meaning that we were getting less than 1.98. And at that time, it was asked that we do the very first reforecast, and inside there's going to be some project that's going to fall below the line. We had some original project that was called additional projects. Therefore, they did not have a funding mechanism, but if we had the money, we would get to that. So fast forward through the pandemic, when we did reforecast last year in 2021, there were some things that was basically finalized, and that's what this chart is showing. The first project that was considered additional below the line after the original reforecast back in 2019 was Bright Star Road from County Road to Douglas Boulevard. That was a sidewalk. We were going to do that for $950,000. We ended up doing that for doing through that design engineering. It's going to go into that 200,000. So there was all the projects that was considered original, additional. We are doing the design engineering for those. So that's every project that was below that line. The only project that was kind of like outside of that scope was the Chapel Hill Road intersection because we did additional scope. It was decided that we'll do the design engineering because we would not have enough to do the construction. And let me share this other document on here for some reason. Let me stop sharing this part of it and go back in, and because there's another file that I need to share with you guys that is a little bit better. Trying to see if I have it here. And just bear with me for a second, because there's a file that's missing. Let me go ahead and I'll finish out transportation. And so one of the other projects was Highway 5 and Concourse Parkway that was developed to be in a city project. So that $1 million that was set to the side for that one went back into the queue because we knew we could not, we decided that because of the city project, the county wasn't taking that on. We also did some updating for the resurfacing. We moved the funding from 2023 and connected with 2022 so we can have a much larger resurfacing in 2022. So those were things that would actually happen. The only funds that was actually added were things like the Lee Road widening phase 1. It was considered a CHIP project. South Douglas Loop, also considered a CHIP project. And the Chapel Hill I-20 interchange, considered a CHIP project. And then the right-of-way for the South Douglas Loop. So those are all projects that were added, and they end up adding up to about $10.6 million. Vice Chair, you had a question?
Nope, keep going. I'm just paying attention.
All right, and so when we saw that, when you go back and you look at the numbers in the CFO or someone could correct me, is that the number ended up being close to around the amount that we were anticipating. When we did the reforecast, it was anticipated you're going to be collecting $2.7 million throughout the rest of the spots. That was what was anticipated. And if that happens, then we would have enough to get that amount of money, that's 61.6 million. So Ms. Bivens, our director, could correct me if I'm wrong when it comes to those numbers, but that's what we came up with. So there weren't any projects that we weren't going to get done except for those that were moving into design engineering instead of doing construction, like Chapel Hill Road. Let me go to this other one coming up. Just bear with me for a second.
All right, so no, but to that point, Stater, while you're doing that, just hear me out. So for transportation, there was an original assumption of, to his point, 51 million. Mm-hmm. And the projects that were above the line that was originally programmed are going to get done. Yes or no?
Yes, the ones that were below the line are going to be done as far as design engineering, but it was decided not to do the construction phase of those.
Yeah, those are separate comments. One more time, was above the line. There was a line that was drawn. You only got 51 million. There was a line drawn. So what was safe? What made it? What actually made it that was in green versus that which was we began to pull from the list up? That's
everything made it except for Chapel Hill widening, which was now design engineering. But all the other ones, I believe South Baggett Road was the other one, but I believe that one did make it. So right now, Chapel Hill widening is the part that did not make it.
All right. So everything made it. The original list when the prior county administrator and I sat down before we went to New York. Which you're telling me that everything that was above the line, the original one assumption of 1.9, they got us to the 51 million. We're saying everything made it as is with no COVID, no inflation. Everything made it. Yes or no?
Yes, except for Chapel Hill Road.
Except for Chapel Hill Road. So.
And then also that Highway 5 and Concourse, you guys decided that was a city project. So that was another one that did not make it.
All right. So what that means is that we either had some savings, to your point, there's some projects that dropped off. So I'm reconciling the 51 million period. We'll talk about nothing else. That 51 million had an original set of projects. Did we do such a good job on our RFP process or something that where we came in under that? I mean, again, in other words, you programmed all the way through. I'm trying to be that exact and like, okay, guys, these were the original lists. Say it was 20 projects. You had $51 million, and you're telling me that everything went in, a couple things fell off. I'm not trying to go down the list and add up. I want the original list. Can you answer that?
Yes, as you know, when it came to, I believe, both fire and transportation, there were categories such as economic development that just had a number to it. They had maybe maybe one or two projects that had funding, but those two projects did not average out to the overall funding. So during that period, it was found that, hey, we can add this amount of money to get Leroy widening done. So there was opportunities like that. So there was a dollar amount that was not for a particular project. So those were done, such as when the Post Road Bridge, when the state decided to do that one, we had money left over to where we could do the Whitestone Culvert, and then we still had money left over in order to do street lights on I-20, all the exits except for the two that we didn't do, as well as throughout the county. So therefore, there was the projects that was on there, those that was above that line, all of them either are done or going to be done, except for the Chapel Hill widening.
Understood. So there's my answer. So other than Chapel Hill widening, we're able to grab some other ones to fill up in there, but we still got the 51 million originally, notwithstanding your spread from COVID.
Right. In fact, when we did reforecast, I believe the amount that we got up to was a little bit over $48 million is what was put down, saying, hey, at this point, everything that we have budgets, or we've actually done, it equaled up to 48 million. So we had not reached the 51 million because we had not, we hadn't reached the 51 million at that point in time. But we have programmed out 48 million.
Got it. And you'll be able to show that to the Board of Commissioners. All right, got it. Yes, sir. That's what I was looking for. Very good. Go to your next one, your parks. Go ahead.
This is going to be the fire EMS. When it comes to fire EMS, a lot like transportation, we have projects that were still going on. So we have Fire Station 9 as a new building. There was an amount of $3.2 million that was for that one. Actually, let me pull up the other slide. It'll be easier to actually show. There it is. Okay, so therefore, here in the green are all the projects that were were completed or going to be completed. So you have Fire Station number 9, the new building. We had the original of 9.2 million. During the reforecast, it was added another 2.47 million. And then when we found out how much it was going to cost per square foot on that building on Fire Station number 9, I believe there was another allocation that was added around 2.6 million. So that, with current things going on, we'll be able to complete that project. We also have Fire Station 9 equipment for 1 million. There was 1 million that was added in there. And then during the reforecast, we added in another 1.2 because we saw that the ladder trucks and all those other vehicles were coming in higher. We ended up getting more ambulances throughout the county just to update on the fleet. Same thing with fire engines, another ladder truck, and I believe there was one that was destroyed on the freeway, but we were able also to get grant money in order for us not to have to assume the full amount. We also got a heavy rescue vehicle that we'll be able to get, as well as station improvements to Fire Station number 11 and emergency vehicles, a couple of staff vehicles in the completion of the fire training complex. All of those were quote unquote above the line and that we can get done. The two that was below the line was the air light truck for $400,000 as well as a tow vehicle for $45,000. Those two projects are still considered below the line. They were not yet done in this SPOS. Fire Station number 4, the renovations, that was a new project. Same thing with fire, as I mentioned earlier, fire station number 9, we had to add funding in order to equal up to the 8.3 million that it costs now. We also added some money to fire engines because we actually had to get equipment. So there was $135,000 that was added just for the equipment. And then also another staff vehicle, which I believe they just not too long ago ordered up. And then the replacement of the damaged ladder truck from SPOS that was a little bit over $227,000. And again, the tow vehicle and the air light truck are the two that will not get done in this SPOS. And the original budget for that SPOS was $32 million.
All right, so stay there. So this is fire EMS. You had an original set of projects that you wanted to accomplish, both, I call them shiny objects in sandboxes that we were going after. 32 million. This is a little bit easier because you're procuring, it's a little bit easier to acquire stuff like this. So you're saying that we got everything on there. We had some inflated costs per se because of the buildings for whatever reasons, okay. But you're saying everything on the original list has been acquired, yes or no?
Everything on the original list has been, not everything has been acquired, but everything has been codified, saying that we will have that amount of money for the SPOS outside of the tow vehicle, outside of two vehicles that I did mention, which one is a tow vehicle and the other one is the air light truck.
Right. So again, we have this spend that, we got the forecast. I got it. So Madam CFO, this is where we're going, but how much has been spent? And with these inflated costs and we're moving stuff around, I want to be assured that we don't, hit this curve here and go off in the ravines. That's really what I'm trying to get at. I'm just trying to solve that part, which is like, okay, you see the original plan that was programmed. Yes, we have some volatility in it. Okay, the board allows that, but you only have so much money. Where are we at? Because we have an expanded reforecasted list based on some assumptions regarding inflation or regarding COVID. More stuff is coming in greater. Like, okay, guys, but we didn't plan on that. All we want to do to the public was accomplish this. And we're stuck right now because we're assuming that the economy is going to keep going. We had a fixed assumption about how much we were going to make. Fixed 1.9 million per year, period. And so now, even though we started out a little bit less than that, it's come up, the slope. I just want you to be assured. So David, you're going to get also 30 days to work with Madam CFO to assuredly, as we talked about today during the work session, that we're going to make sure the numbers are right. We get the programming. I want to know what the burn rate is below that. And we just need to give confidence. That's all. I'm sure you guys have got this. But I'm trying to show you pinpoint. I just want that question answered. Stay there. And I think we're good. So good job on this, David. I think I got it.
There's 2 more slides.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm saying from this pot, I'm good. Keep going.
Okay, now we have with Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is a lot different than the others because once we did the reforecast, Parks and Rec had made their 17 million. So there was no more work that could be done with the exception of getting equipment and miscellaneous vehicles because they still have money in that pot because that pot represented a certain amount of money but not a project. So during the reforecast, we were able to get the Bill Art Park and the Fairplay Park fence and dugouts as well as retaining wall at Bill Art. That made it. The Deer Lake Park gym floor replacement also made it. And then talking with Gary Dukes, they wanted to do the Deer Lake and Winston conceptual plans. So instead of actually building out those 2 parks according to what we had before, it was decided better to do a conceptual plan so the parks actually could perform the right way. Bill Art, Deer Lake, Fairplay, and Woodrow playground units, and you guys just approved in one of the past meetings, also made the list. They also want to get scoreboards, so based upon pricing, if it's the pricing they believe, they will receive it. The netting, you guys just, the Board of Commissioners did approve to get the netting done at the Chestnut Law Soccer Complex, along in relationship with the board of the school board. So that was something they'll share for that one. Then various parks doing park equipment, and then also the Clean Nature Preserve dog park. The 2 that right now it seems like it's not going to make the list will be the Boundary Waters Aquatic Center, all the equipment. He's going to use the equipment money that's within this equipment bucket to take care of whatever you could take care of at the aquatic center. And then a Chestnut Law Sucker Complex restroom building. I'm not the reason why that's in red is that there's no decision on if you guys are going to move forward doing that as in a relationship with school board, if the school board going to take it on, or the county's going to take it on. So that's outside of my purview. But that's everything when it comes to the Parks and Rec, 17%. And then there's a question on that. And then the final one that I just want to I would like to share, if I can, is going to be the reconciliation summary. I'm not sure if you can see this spreadsheet, but what it shows is that it shows all the projects that we actually have project numbers for. And the ones that are in green are those projects that are part of the original list. It's showing the original budget, it's showing the current budget, and then showing the current spend that we have. So if we, like, for example, when we did the countywide digital radio system, it was originally budgeted for $16.25 million. And it came in at $15.66 million. So it's showing that on one category, it's showing the budget, which that full budget is supposed to equal out to how much we have, we felt we were going to spend, and then the actual. So we have the total invoice as of, I believe, August 31st of 2022. So that's what this sheet is showing. And right now on here, the QRV EMS projects for fire, that's one of those that was considered in the reforecast. The two aerial trucks, one is a new one, the other one is partial because of the grant funding. That's also in here. We have the Station 9 equipment, so anything that the vehicles that was added on to, or for the building added on to, that's also on this list. So when I get with the CFO, we also, I've sent this also to her just to make sure we can reconcile and validate all of our numbers. So when it comes to you guys, you can see the true test of what's going on. And it's also showing the Chapel Hill that will not be constructed under the SPOS, but it will be designed under the SPOS. And that's my presentation on that. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Mr. David Good, you got, this slide is what I'm looking for.
All right.
I appreciate what you took us to, because I think the board would benefit from that. So the aggregation, but that's really right there is what I'm looking for. Madam CFO, I know you're going to reconcile this. We're going to do the same thing we did with the ARP. We're going to give you guys 30 days, come back with a single number. I know you got to get through the audit process here, so I'm okay. The point was just have a breadcrumb. We have to report to the public and be transparent on how we're progressing. It looks like, you can see a lot of work has been done. It's been a great job. But Madam CFO, I've got to use an external consultant to give me a single view of everything. Can you believe that? But I appreciate him. We appreciate, that he's been running this thing for 5 years, cemetery. Every month, it's been on point. Okay, that's all I got. Okay, you get it, and we need to internalize that. But can you now keep him on point? He does what he does because he needs to keep running that because that is a contract. But you get my point. That it needs to be validated internally. We need to own these numbers. Can you make sure we get that done, please, ma'am?
Yes, sir. So let me. That's what I have. I have a spreadsheet that I've used. It shows the project, when it was approved, the original estimated cost, the current estimated cost, our current budget, anything that we spent in the prior year, current year, all encumbrances, total amount in it. It's a lot of information, but it's detailed and it gets us, I believe, what you want. And then also I have another spreadsheet that I like to use to track revenues. It shows our original total projection. Then it also shows our projections to actual, so we can reconcile, okay, this is what we projected we were going to collect, this is what we've actually collected. We get a true picture on one spreadsheet showing where we are with that. Is that kind of what you're looking for? I got you.
Don't take the board, the full board ain't gonna go too far. You always provide them everything, right. But when you present it, keep it tight.
Yes, sir. We can take that and put it on a pretty chart or graph and present it.
Yep. No, okay. Great job, team. Great. We're getting there. But y'all get the point. We want to be able to see everything. And it
yes,
wants to be reasonable. Again, one more time. Where's our technology that allows us to be able to do this? Why do I have these two high-paid, highly educated people doing stuff okay, you mean this whole $100 million system? We can't keep up with, you know what we're saying? So I appreciate you guys getting your minds around and taking your time. sure the board gets what we need. I mean, there's nobody below y'all that can do this. This
We're
is
working on that.
the real time into this. And I know you got this, but you hear my point, like, oh my goodness. You know, to really have confidence without just like covering staff, y'all can look at it confidently, like, no, we know what the number is, you know, the burn rate is. Not telling us we know it's good, but y'all can show us. So I appreciate it. And so I'm comfortable by the time y'all get to the Board of Commissioners, you'll be on point and solid. So let's keep this going. I don't think I need anything else out of this unless you guys want to weigh in. I'd like to, Madam CFO, call a concurrence just to move it straight to the Board of Commissioners one more time.
Certainly.
To make sure that it'll be on the next work session. Just go straight to them and present the findings, but you're validating that this thing is solid.
Yes, sir, I concur. We can do that.
All right.
We will do that.
All right. So I'm going to go around the room to concur to take this full findings, both David Goods and her presentation, however y'all choose to present it, but present it to the full board at its next, what was it, October 17th meeting, the work session of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. I concur.
Okay. This is Ramona. I concur. Work session is October 17th. Our Finance Committee meeting is October 17th. The board meeting is October 18th.
Sounds good.
All right.
And I concur, Vice Chair, just for clarity, that's the 30 days that it'll be in conjunction with the ARPA presentation, correct?
Right.
All right.
Single view everything.
I concur.
Yep. Madam ACA. Well, we got 3 of us. Did I drop?
Nope, you're there.
All right. Well, we got 3. We've got 3, and so obviously our concurrence can move forward. I don't want to delay this. It's been a long day. She'll come back in when she needs to. It's okay. Madam CFO, that takes care of that matter. Is there something else?
Also, one final thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Finance Committee report, Ms. Rosalind.
Okay. Okay. What's before you is August the 31st, 2020, financial report. As always, we have our 4 major funds, our general fund, Inc., fire services, and animal control that I will go over. On the first summary, on this first page, the summary page, you'll see the beginning fund balance and ending fund balance for each fund. And for general fund, as you see, revenue versus expenditures, meaning expenditures are more than revenue. And as you are aware, that majority of the funds come in towards the end of the year, and that's the property tax. So this negative will go away towards the end of the year. But with that said, also out of the funds, it tells us how much is unassigned, meaning unreserved. And actually for general fund, it's in the negative because of not receiving all of the revenue. But for the uninked fund, ending balance 1.4, unassigned is 1.7, 1.1, I'm sorry. And then for fire services, we have ending fund balance of 835, but of that, 359 can be spent on operations. And for animal control, ending fund balance is 634, and 558,000 could be spent on operating. And what you would see, and I'll just give you a summary, the county's revenue, when comparing this time last year with August year to date, you'll find revenue is over $8.3 million higher than last year. And again, this is due to the ARPA transfer that we received for the incentive pays, and also the total taxes. Taxes have increase, tax revenue has increased, and it's majority of your lost revenue when you're comparing again last year's with this year, and also with prior year to prior year on digest an increase. You'll see an increase. So those items for your total revenue, it makes up the increase of the 8.3 million. And as you can see at the total revenue here, at the end of August last year, received 28.4 million. At the end of August this year, received 37.2, and again that was due to revenue, your tax revenue increases. You have some charges for services increase and other financial sources, which is ARPA. For expenditures, as of August, the county is trending under budget still. I'm going to go towards the end of the total, and you can see here currently you should be for the month of August about 66% of your budget spent. As you can see, the 74, you've only spent 61.29%, which is reflecting a 5.38 under budget. And majority of the departments are under budget. Some that are not under budget is due to one-time expenditures, and it will even out towards the end of the year. So this year, last year, the same of your expenditures minus revenues, again, because the sales tax wasn't in, but last year was 38.3 million, and this year 37.1. Now we'll go into your uninked fund. This is majority, the taxes are your tax revenues, franchise, your beer and wine, insurance premium tax. This is majority of your planning and development departments, but your revenue to date you've collected 25.70% of your budget revenue. Majority of your revenue comes in towards the end around October, and that is the insurance premium tax.
Right, real quick, is it beer wine? What is that? What did we budget for the year? Beer wine revenue?
$612,000.
That's it. That's all I needed. I just said that feeds something else. Thank you. Keep going.
Okay. And for uninked expenditures for the departments of code enforcement, economic development, permits, planning and zoning, and development services, it's really, that's odd, it's extremely close to last year's expenditures at this time. You are under budget by 3.49% under budget. The next is fire protection. So far for revenue, you've collected 68.19% of your total revenue. You've received 11.6 million, budgeted 17. Expenditures for your fire protection and services and EMS, you're under budget by 3.51%. Total expenditures is 11.4, and your budget is 18.1, making you 3.51% under budget. The next is animal control.
What is that exact cash amount? Under budget?
Oh, for,
Fire protection? I was just curious, you had a 3% variance?
yeah,
What was the dollar? What does that translate in dollar amount?
it translates to about $500,000.
All right, that's right. Okay, keep going. Thank you.
Okay. Next is animal control, and your revenues collected to date is 69.77%. Expenditures, you spent as of August of 2022, $855,000, and budget is 1.5. So you're under budget by 12.36%. All right. The next is your lost and lost revenue. Up at the top is your loss, and comparing to last year you received 1.8 million in loss. This year for August you received a little over 2 million, so that's a $236,000 over last year's amount, cash amount over last year. If you look at total from January through current, it looks like it's averaging about $230,000 each month as an increase. So far you're at 1.7 million over last year. Loss. When comparing August, last year you received 2.7 million as your revenue collection for your SLOSS, and this year August you received 3.1. That's $357,000 over last year. And if you compare from January through current, you've received 2.5 million over last year's revenue, SLOSS revenue. The next is your 2022 contingency summary. To date, you've expended $401,000 in your contingency fund.
Yep.
You were budgeted at $478,000. Expenditures, as I mentioned, was 401. You have remaining 76,837 remaining.
All right.
No outstanding encumbrance.
No outstanding encumbrance. You got to continue. So, Madam CFO, so I guess we got about 3-4 months left. We have to do a better job in our contingency. We pick numbers. We've been size $1 million, $1.5 million, 250, 500. It just really was whatever was we got put into the budget by the board. So it's not really. But we got to do a better job of how do we frame that that one-off when things happen, that things we want to do and things we didn't expect to do. Can you make a note for that to just be prepared to talk about contingency? But that always sometimes gets us in trouble because we don't budget for it, then we got to go dip into the general fund, and so it's not a true indication. Can you help clean it up for us?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Ross, keep going, please.
Okay. Our next is just a summary of the SPLOST, and it's reflective of what Director Good provided to the board this morning in regards to total revenue. To date, net claims, meaning checks cut, so far your PAYGO minus net, PAYGO minus net checks cut is $38.3 million.
Mm-hmm.
The total, the next slide, this is the total, it's called, you've probably heard it, the SPLOST reimbursable. And as you may be aware that the cities provide an allocation or pay for fire SPLOST expenditures. And it's the city of Douglasville and Villa Rica. And this is a list, like for the first column you see, it's the city of Douglasville. And this is an amount, how much we bill and invoiced them. So far we have invoiced them 1.8 million, and we have received our payments. For Villa Rica, we invoiced them $326,000, and we received payment. And if you add these two numbers up, that has a balance of 2.1 million. So in the reimbursable fund for the fire, you have 2.1 million. However, they have had expenditures of 420,000. So 2.1 minus 420,000, the remaining balance is 1.7. And the fire chief presented, I believe, 2 tankers that will be on tomorrow for a vote. Totaled 1.1, and he did mention funding will come from this account. And as I mentioned, he does have 1.7 million available. So, and if the board votes to move forward tomorrow, then we will minus the 1.1 million from this 1.7.
Okay. To Madam CFO and Madam Director, this slide right here on that topic, have prepared tomorrow. That's the first time I ever heard about a reimbursable. I get it, and I understand the separation. So for that, I'm like, oh, this is good. You need to say it. And explain it like you just explained it. That was important. I'm like, okay, now how y'all gonna pay this? And where is this coming from? And it's separation, but it's also for our mutual consistency with the cities.
Yeah.
That there's an acknowledgement. So you know where I'm going. Director Miller, we're good. This is good. So you're fine. Y'all just make sure y'all have that on standby, just as y'all explain that on behalf of the chief or provide support for him, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Keep going, finish us out.
Well, this looks like our last one, and it's the healthcare fund. It states August, the year to date as of August, we've received 66.20% of charges for services of revenue. We received 10.6 million. However, we've had expenditures for administrative and for claims. So far, it's a total of 55.63 spent. If you compare to budget, we've spent 55% of the budget, and as the target is, it's actually about 66.6%, which this fund is running 11% under the target of 66%.
So is that good or bad the way you're saying it?
It's good.
So we're funded. We have sufficiency.
Yes, we have 5 million in the health care fund. However, it can be due to claims. Of course, it's there just for making payments on claims.
That's it. And so what does that normally do? We made that reference a bit earlier, and I'm not going to tackle this right now, but I do want to come back to this whole health insurance in the best way. But all right, so when is that big off the top? Do we have enough to pay our health insurance and the other things, workers' comp, all that? Do we have sufficiency to cover those topics?
Yes. Yes, we do.
All right, that's all I need for now. Anything else, Director Miller?
No, I think that is it.
Very good. All right, we got through it. All right, we'll come back to you, Madam CFO. Anything else on today's agenda we need to cover?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. Miller, for giving us the financial report. We have one more item that you wanted to have a discussion on, capital improvement plan, SPOS 2022. Do you want to do that or delay it?
Well, all right, so the capital improvement plan all of this is related.
Okay.
Single view. So, I do want to talk about, answer this. We have a plan that our Terminus, our financial advisor, did a very good job early this year. And we had that, that's pretty much on standby going into our mid-year retreat. So I know that information is available. I want everything to be aligned. And so again, as we're getting this information, you got your SPLOS fund, your ARPA fund, your grant fund, your capital improvement. I'm just looking for a single view of some type of dashboard. We're looking at any given time, we're making big financial decisions. We can plot this up, right? And we know, all right, so wait a minute, we got to put this on that list and this on this list. I don't have a single view of anything. And so it's more of the challenge. I don't have to solve it. I pretty much know what's on the list. It should not have changed since the last time with the board's blessing. So I think I'm okay with it.
Okay.
But do we have, can you move us closer to that single view along with this by our next meeting? That's what we're looking for, a single view.
So let me work with Rosa on the capital improvement plan and look at the SPOS 2022 projects.
Yeah.
See, because we do have some things that she told me that a list that we got earlier in the year when this was done, and we're getting requests in the budget. So we're working through those right now to see what's on the capital improvement plan that people have requested and trying to disaggregate those and put them where they should be, whether it's SPOS funded or if it's coming out of our general fund budget. So we are working on that.
All right, stay there real quick. So to that point, and to Deputy and Madam ACA and our members, there is a referendum that is going to be placed. It's on the ballot for the actual citizens. Information is important. Education. There are a set of categories, but also there's what have you done for me lately? And what else is that? Have you captured my voice so far? Stay there. You got 30 days, guys, to solidify. Where are we? This is about the citizens. It's not just about y'all doing, internal spreadsheet exercises. It's our capacity to be able to give the citizens, like, okay, give an account for what we've done. Now, what do you ask me to go do? And what's on the list? Based on some categories. Now, there is no list, I understand, but we still have a disclosure here that we're having that says, okay, but have you captured the work to date? Things that need to get done today. There is no list. We have categories, but you still need information. But there's some people that don't know, and some people are like, well, wait a minute, didn't we advocate for this? Is that on some list somewhere? You got 30 days, guys, to provide information, both for the board and just in general, the public. That's what this is about. So it's going to be a balance sheet moment, Madam CFO. It's where we are. It's that moment in time.
Gotcha.
I've got to have a single view. I mean, I get it. You got to call it. You got to cut it off. This is where we are right now. All right, so I don't want to capture a list. I want the answer. Here's a single view. That's what we're after. A single view from all these little lists. A single view of everything. It's information for the public. It's the exchange between us as elected and the public that put us here. And so we need that, you guys. And that's all we're really shooting for, a single view. It's not a commitment by y'all per se about we're obligating ourselves. Like, okay, guys, but where are we? What have we done today? What have we done for me lately? Where are we at? So we can all make informed decisions accordingly. You get the assignment?
Yes, sir. Got it. I just wrote it down. Okay. And that was it. That's all we have on the agenda for today.
Deputy, sir, anything last? Anything you want to add?
Nothing on my end, Vice Chair. Thank you. And we are going to be working towards that just chiseling down that single view. And thank you for the 30 days. We can definitely use that, and we'll be getting together, myself, Madam CFO, Rosalind, and David Good, to really hone in on the SPLOS presentation as you've talked about over the course of this meeting. So thanks for that.
No, Madam Alicia, you okay?
I'm here. Nothing at this point. I concur with what everyone else has said. Great meeting. Thank you.
Yep, all right, so to this, look at your timeline. I'm giving y'all 30 days, right? That gives you your 30 days. And 30 days after October 17th, you're now with the board, and it must make this decision on the budget, right? We get into those, like, okay, we meet with the Constitution officer in the next couple weeks. Then y'all got to come before us. And then we obviously got to reconcile by the first week in December. Look at your time frame. You only got 2 more turns at this. And you can't come to us at the last minute. So, Madam CFO, this is important. I'll give you 30 days. All right, you got to get it before us. And so that gives us at least 30 days as the board to be familiar with this. So we can make better informed decisions. So look at your timeline. The calendar is clear. There it is. Y'all do y'all part. Give the board something to make some decisions on. We got 30 days to come back, and then we got to vote. So see how everything has to be synchronized, so that we can sort of, you've gotten through the vote of the referendum, and then we got to deal with the budget. And these are related. They're interrelated. They're independent. They're tangential. However you want to frame it. So it's all about information. That's all we look for. The best you can give us at the time with the tools you got and the talent you got. So that's your assignment. The tools and talent that we've given you, we get it. And so do the best you can. And I look forward to seeing you in 30 days.
Awesome. Yes, sir.
All right, guys. If there's nothing else that needs to come before this Finance Committee of September 19, 2022, let this meeting of the Douglas County Board of Commissioners stand adjourned. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.